Re-elected once again, Theo Zographos, and after Tuesday, Councillor Zographos. It's a pleasure one more time to catch up. It's been a very, very long time, Theo. How are you?
G'day, Rula. It's fantastic to be with you, and thanks for the invitation. It's actually a great day. We're doing this in a very, on a sunny day, so I'm feeling very good. So thank you for the invitation.
And whereabouts are you right now? You're out in the sun. Are you okay? So are you near the beach? Are you at a beautiful park? I mean, our parks are just gorgeous today.
Yeah. I'm going for a walk, and I'm just about to get back home. So as you know, when you're in my position, it's very hard to find the time to spend time with the family and stuff. So this was the only time that I was available.
And this is probably one of the best things that have come out of these restrictions and out of this pandemic. The fact that we can still interact with one another, we can still go out and spend time outdoors. We're doing a Zoom meeting now about you. You don't have to be in an office. You're not restricted like that anyway, anymore in moving forward. I think this is one of the best things that's happened. You know, a lot of businesses now will be working from home. And this is one of the things that you can do anywhere around the world. We just use Zoom and it doesn't matter where we are.
Yeah, so I should probably tell the truth. I'm actually in the Greek islands.
Yes, and, that's what I want to hear, Theo. But Theo, you know what?
I got a VIP flight. Scott Morrison organised it for me, and I'm very grateful for that. And yeah, back next year. So I'll see you then.
Theo. Bravo, Theo. Now remember that you did self-isolate for 14 days when you did land there, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. That's what we're going with.
Yeah, and upon your return back to Australia, I will be expecting you to also not self-isolate. I want actually you to go into quarantine for 14 days. I need to ensure that you stay put for 14 days and get tested twice, at the start and at the end, because I need to make sure that no more virus comes into our country unnecessarily, even from fellow Australian citizens.
Yep. Okay, I'll take that on board. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, and please make sure you're wearing that mask, okay? Theo, look, as I said, it's a great pleasure to catch up with you. I remember many, many years ago when you were running for council and we did a live on the radio. You're running it for council again. It's a great honour. Yeah. You have built a great network within your community, a lot of respect. Whether you're elected then or not, it's irrelevant. You've still done a lot of work behind the scenes. Now, before we talk about what we're going to see from Theo Zographos moving forward for 2020 under the local council, tell me first of all, how has the pandemic affected you? Give me some positives that you've got out of it, and obviously some negatives.
Well, look, like all Victorians and Australians, it's impacted me in many ways, but overall, not as bad as many others. So I'm very grateful in that regard and very lucky. I've been able to continue to work. My family are in the same boat, so we're all healthy. We've been healthy, so that's great. But the community that I represent has had a very difficult 9 months or so, and I guess it got at its probably worst emotionally and mentally during the stage 4 restrictions and the peak when we had over 700 daily cases. That was obviously probably, I would say, the hardest time. When you take a step back and you look at the economic impacts, I can't really point to the worst period, because I think it's probably potentially still in front of us when we get out of the March quarter in 2021, and a lot of the government support will be pulled back. But I guess the positives are, in my mind, that we're now, many days, 0 cases in Victoria. So you can definitely sense the atmosphere, I guess, the culture has changed in society, and everyone is much happier today than they were last month, which is great. And I think we've got a lot of positives to look forward to as well. So
we do.
That was one of the reasons why I put myself forward for another 4-year term.
Well done. And you know what? This will be a testing term for all of you, because as you're saying, a lot of people have suffered, and you will be focusing within your community and all the other councillors within all their areas. And you all need to basically work as a team to help people moving forward. Now, as you said, that much of the support will be pulled back, and it is going to be pulled back, whether it's been from state government or federal government. And if we refer back to the 27th of March, when our federal Prime Minister did make an announcement, he did say about the businesses that he was predicting and saying that the businesses will be going into hibernation, so they will be closing down for various reasons. But also he did mention that after the restrictions are lifted, and it was going to be well after 6 months upon his prediction, which is exactly what's happening right now, he did say that to come out on the other side to rebuild the economy. So my guess is with what you just mentioned in moving forward, yes, there'll be a lot of support that will be pulled back, but that, I guess, is also the optimism coming from our federal Prime Minister in being optimistic that coming out on the other side, building our economy, and people rebuilding their businesses, rebuilding their lives. So it's one thing to continually to have that support, but then it's the other thing when it's taken from us, what are we going to do to bounce back rather than taking it all for granted? And it is all about rebuilding. And from what we can also see, our economy is slowly bouncing back here in Victoria. We've done the hard yard.
Yep.
And now really a big part will be playing, from my perception and understanding, it's not just from the top, it also comes from down the bottom, where we start from people like yourself, councillors in the local council, visiting their local community and visiting all the business owners and visiting business owners that perhaps have shut down their businesses and working with them to rebuild.
In this day and age, you can actually look at the data, and when you look at the consumer confidence numbers that the RBA and many other government entities look at, you can actually now look at suburb by suburb, and you can see almost in real time how much people are spending in their local communities, at the local cafe. And as we saw, I think it was last week, the numbers are obviously on the way up, and the trend is on the way up. And as you say, the other states have come out of a technical recession, that is the national economy. Unfortunately, we still have some time to go in Victoria, but there's a lot to look forward to. And just when we step out in our own community here in Monash, the businesses are doing, from what I can see, anecdotally, very good business. And that's because everyone's supporting each other. So that's great to see.
And you know what else is great to see? We've seen a lot of people that have thought outside the square. They've had businesses that have been affected, and yet they thought, what can we do to stay open? Even if it's just enough to provide support and an income to their existing employees, or even just for themselves to make ends meet. They've worked with landlords. It hasn't been a positive for many. So this is not about everybody, but for some of them, they did step up. They were able to step up. But it also, as you said, it's the support. It's that network support in the background. And that's the only way anyone can come out of this in a positive way. What have we got to look forward to from you, Theo, now that you have been re-elected? Have you come up with your own roadmap of how you're going to assist and support your community?
Well, look, I think, as I said, we've got a lot of positives to look forward to in Monash. And the number one thing for me is making sure that we're not standing in the way of businesses, that is, with any regulations that the council would normally impose. And then when we're required, we're stepping in to assist. And that's, for example, creating new outdoor dining spaces where there wasn't some previously. And also giving people the relief that they need. Like, we're not charging for their trading permits, outdoor trading permits this financial year.
That's fantastic.
So that's hundreds of thousands of dollars that
is fantastic.
now spend on their staff, like you said, as opposed to having to pay the council. And it's just really making sure that they know that they can give me a call at any time. And if there's any particular issue, it's dealt with much quicker and much more efficiently than it would have been done previously. But I make the point that most of these businesses, their main government support comes from the state and the federal governments. And
Correct.
I'm very happy that the state and the federal governments have done a lot of good work. And I hopefully, whenever the assistance does get pulled back, that there are other similar programs that will continue to exist, because that's where we'll get the biggest growth in Monash, is from a very unique character, a very famous trading precincts, and it's a very strong characteristic to have when we're comparing ourselves to other councils and to other economic precincts, and I'm very obviously very grateful to represent it.
That is fantastic, Theo. Theo, I spent some time reading the interim report, and one of the key things that came out of the Coates inquiry, or one of the recommendations that she had made, was for all parties, regardless of what party you're from, all ministers, all government bodies, to work together in moving forward to help assist for us to completely come out of this pandemic and to get through the other side. The hand has been forced. Do you agree with that, that plan and that recommendation?
Yeah, look, I haven't read the interim report, but I agree with the principle that bipartisanship is very powerful, particularly in times of crisis. And when we saw the National Cabinet formed in March.
That's right, in March the 13th of this year.
Yep, there was a very strong feeling from the Australian people that that was a very effective way of making decisions, because you had Labor premiers sitting down with a Liberal Prime Minister and putting the country first. So from my perspective locally, that actually has always been my attitude. I've always worked with Labor, Greens, councillors, MPs, other political parties as well as my own, the Liberal Party, to get results and to get outcomes. And it doesn't mean we agree on everything. In fact, we probably disagree on most things, but we definitely agree on putting politics
people
aside
first,
when it's
and people
applied,
first,
and the community first. So hopefully that continues. I mean, I don't think it will be at the same level as we've seen earlier this calendar year, but certainly that should be the aim. And, you know, hopefully at the national, state and local levels, that's front of mind of both myself, but also some of the new people that have been elected, because they will be coming into a very different environment than, say, when I was elected 8 years ago.
But you have some experience though, Theo. You've got experience prior to the pandemic. You watched what's happened during the pandemic. You followed our state leader. You followed our Australian leader. And as you said, you know, the formation on the 13th of March of this year of the National Cabinet meeting has played a key part in bringing all parties together to work for Australia, not just for their own states. And I'm really proud to hear the path that you've taken and your views of working together as one, irrespective of what everybody's beliefs are and opinions, but still working together and coming together. And I think that's what's going to make Australia, let alone the states, let alone the communities within under local councils, a very, very strong force. So I'm really, really proud, Theo, because as I said, you know, I met you so many years ago, and to listen to you today, you've just grown, and you know, you've raised the bar, and I really do hope that many fellow councillors and even fellow ministers that have the opportunity to listen to our Zoom meeting today to hear those words, because I think it is very, very important, not just within government and to help our nation, but also as human beings. And that's the only way we're going to actually help on one-on-one and helping people within our community. So congratulations. And yeah, you've made me very, very proud today.
Well, thank you. That's very generous of you. I really do appreciate it. And, you know, you can hold me to account in 12 months.
I'll hold you to account, Theo.
You know, what the outcomes are, because, look, it's one thing to, you know, have the aims, but it's much harder to actually find that compromise. So
And putting it all in
I'm
place
more
as
than happy
well.
to. That's right. That's right. And I really love our community here in Monash. So for me to get that feedback from you is very important. Thank you.
Thank you, Theo. And to wrap it up on a more positive note, what's some fun things that you did
Yep.
during this pandemic with your beautiful wife?
Yes, thank you.
Come
Thank
on,
you.
tell
She's
us
actually
the
missing
stories.
me walking at the moment.
Can we maybe say a few
Well, I
words?
mean,
Maybe
look,
she can throw in a few words.
no, no. Well, look, at the moment,
We'll keep her
she's
out of
probably
politics.
caught off guard.
Plenty of cooking.
She's saying plenty of cooking. I think
Okay, so
we.
did she
Our
teach you how to
son
cook?
has discovered the joys. No, ruler. Our son has discovered the joys of cooking in lockdown. So we've had some lovely baking and some lovely cooking. So
It's great
it's
to hear
been a
your
really
voice.
family-friendly fun time.
That is so,
Yeah,
so good.
Ruler.
As you can see, now we know how I keep winning all these elections. It's actually my wife who makes all the decisions and is actually the brains, and I'm just the guy that poses for the camera.
Well, you know, the saying does say, Theo, she's the neck, you're the head, and behind a great guy is a great female, or not even just necessarily a female, we'll rephrase that. Behind a great person is another great person.
Yep.
Or a great partner.
Absolutely. Well put. Well put.
Thank you, Theo.
But look, to be honest with you, just on this final point, I think what Vanessa said about children, you know, there was a point there where it was looking very grim and it was very hard to explain to children what was happening.
How did you explain it to them? How do you remember explaining that to them, to him?
Yeah, well, look, for me, he's sort of a teenager, so he was a little bit easier. But I guess at school they also were sort of given the perspective of how a health pandemic works and how infection control works, and also the masks, and at that sort of age he was able to sort of understand the risks and that sort of thing. But so it's my relatives who are maybe a bit younger and they have younger children, I think it was all about just reassuring that, you know, there are times in lives where we do have challenges, whether it's in our personal life or in the general community. But it's all about reassuring children and giving them that message of strength that comes from their parents and their grandparents, and saying that if we all stick together, we'll be okay. So family was very important. And I guess just going back to my personal experience, one of the positives is that our son is now a master chef, and he's got a life skill that he'll have that life skill for the rest of his life. So, you know, it's pretty optimistic.
That's amazing. It has brought families together. It has. Not in all households, but the majority. Theo, thank you so much. My best regards to you and your family. Hugs and kisses to Vanessa from me. And hopefully we will catch up very soon when you have at least half an hour. We can have a coffee together, non-political coffee. But meanwhile, enjoy the celebrations. Enjoy your new re-elected position. Boots down, as Scott Morrison will say, and get on with the job.
Yeah. Thank you. I really appreciate this, and definitely let's catch up as soon as we can in person. And well done on everything that you're doing with this content. I think it's very, very beneficial to all of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Theo. Kisses and my love to you all. Bye.
Okay. Bye.
Bye, Rolla.
Bye, Vanessa.